Tale of the Silkworm. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Tu whose parents both died early, so she had to take care of a rich widow. The landlady's temper was so cruel that one day Tu had to run away, running into a forest, thinking that she would rather die in the mouth of a wild animal than stay in the miserable situation of being tortured every day. Tu had walked quite a distance. Partly she had been lacking food and drink for a long time and was exhausted. Partially, she had struggled through the forest and waded through streams, so she collapsed and lay on a rock. The mountain god there clearly understood the pitiful situation of the gentle and innocent girl, so he watched and protected her. When Tu woke up, she thought she had just had a dream. The surrounding scenery was completely different from when she fainted. She found herself lying in a cave, covered in moss as soft as velvet, at the foot of a stream flowing through the rocks as softly as music. Before her eyes, just within reach, countless delicious, ripe fruits dangled from vines that hung down like curtains covering the door of a cave. Already hungry and thirsty, she raised her hand to pick and devour the delicious food. After that frugal meal, she felt unusually healthy and light. The mountain god appeared in the form of an old man with white hair and beard, holding a bamboo stick in his hand, walking towards her. Seeing the kind old man, Mrs. Tu bowed respectfully. The old man looked surprised and asked her where she came from and how she got lost alone in the deserted mountains and forests. Tu sincerely recounted everything about her miserable life. The old man shook his head pitifully for her and advised, "You are right to hide like that. You can just stay here, perhaps you will be more at peace. I will look after you." "Dear sir, you are my benefactor, please tell me where you are." "This whole mountain forest is my home." He made a living by cutting wood, so he was here and there. "Don't worry, sometimes the old man comes to visit. If you need me for anything, just go to this cliff and call Mr. Tu, and he will come right away." The next morning, the old man came back and gave Miss Tu a new bundle of clothes to replace her old, tattered clothes. From then on, Tu lived a peaceful, free life, without worrying about tomorrow, without worrying about the past. Gradually, the birds and animals in the forest came to get to know her, and every day brought sweet and strange fruits to use as food. Living like that, Tu's beauty became more and more radiant like a lush forest flower. At that time, in the upper world there was a god who was passionate about pleasure, and after turning heaven into a place of debauchery, bored with the pleasures of heaven, God came down to earth. Thanks to supernatural magic, the god transforms into all kinds of shapes to tempt women and girls with their beauty. From the upper class to the common people, God appears everywhere, sometimes as a beautiful, talented young mandarin, sometimes as a handsome, elegant, and amorous young man, to attract many beauties into his life. Lust cycle. No woman or girl who is noticed can avoid the charm of God to avoid falling into passion. I was tired of the pleasures of the luxurious upper class. One day, I went looking for pleasure in the countryside. Through a deserted forest, without a soul in sight, I happened to meet a green forest girl playing with birds and animals. After a moment of being stunned by Tu's beauty, his desire flared up. The god walked through the leaves and approached to grab the beauty. A bird chirped loudly. Both the girl and the animals quickly ran away before the stranger. The god tried his best to chase T2, accustomed to living in nature, became unusually agile, running like the wind. The god then used magic to follow her. While the god was about to capture it, the big deer came and knelt down so that T could climb on his back and escape from the god's hands. The deer was brought to the cave, and T was so scared that she did not dare to step out again. She climbed up the cliff, called "Old Man," 3 times and saw the old man appear. The old man warned her to be careful and gave her a jade bracelet. By wearing it, she could be invisible at any time. Thanks to that, she avoided the hunt of the god who wanted to usurp her. Seeing that his pursuit was fruitless and losing his mind to a mountain girl, the god became angry and vowed to capture her until he could. Thanks to supernatural magic, the god spread a large net with very small and strong threads surrounding the entire forest. The girl was not careful, so she got caught in the net. Luckily, a white elephant used its tusks to puncture it and save her again. She called the old man. The old man appeared and advised her that the next time she gets caught in the net, she should call the name of Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara. Because she was afraid of being trapped, for a long time, T did not dare to leave the cave. But then the desire to freely run and jump again urged her to go. This time she faced the other direction to avoid the watchful eyes of the lovesick god. But thanks to his magical powers, the god knew the time she left and where she was going, so he spread a net in advance to catch her. Remembering the old man's advice, she called out the name of Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, and miraculously, all the threads of the net shortened to the size of a peanut. While she opened her mouth to call a second time, the dragon fruit followed her breath and sucked it into her stomach. Seeing her magical powers being taken away by a girl, the angel's pride was greatly tantalized by mortals, because the god got angry and thought of a way to take revenge. Immediately, God sent a message to call Thien Loi, who was under his command before, to come. The god of lightning invited his friends, the god of wind, the god of rain, the god of thunder, and the god of lightning, to come together and appear. The girl-loving god immediately asked Thien Loi to help him beat the clothes of the girl who was playing with the animals in the forest to pieces, but not harm her. The god of lightning obeyed, then in just a blink of an eye, while the girl was petting a few deer by the stream, dark clouds filled the sky, the wind rose violently, thunder rumbled, lightning flashed everywhere, torrential rain. T2 ran back to the cave, when suddenly a thunderclap rang out, shaking the entire mountain and forest, aiming to strike down on her. T2 was unharmed, but the clothes covering her body had disappeared. The god stood on a high cliff witnessing that scene, burst out laughing triumphantly, then excitedly ran towards the beauty. But he was disappointed once again, because the jade bracelet on his arm had helped her. Silk became invisible. At night, Mrs. T struggled to find her way back to the cave. She was shy with everyone around her, as if everything had eyes. Looking at her curiously. Naked, she did not dare to call the old man or the wild animals she knew for help. She retreated to the end of the cave, shivering in the cold. The magic net had swallowed her stomach, causing her to feel uncomfortable and vomit, forming a pile of soft, durable threads. It was so cold, she wrapped it around her body to make a warm blanket. Then she gradually stopped breathing in that gentle nest. Before her soul left her body, She sincerely thought of the poor, miserable people who lacked clothing and had to die in the cold like her. She volunteered to help them make clothes and weave these threads into clothes. That's why she died and turned into a silkworm. To fulfill her wish, her soul brought a pile of silk threads to hang at the top of the mulberry tree in the royal garden, where the queen and king often visited every afternoon. When the queen passed by, her soul let out shiny golden threads that flew to the wind to caress. The queen was surprised to take it and saw that the thread was beautiful, golden, soft, and when she tried to pull it, she realized that the thread looked fragile but was surprisingly strong and flexible. Presenting it to the king, the queen wished to wear a dress woven from that beautiful golden thread. The queen's wish was ordered by the king to fulfill. All the golden silk threads in the royal garden were collected. Many talented weavers in the country were summoned to the palace, and soon, an extremely soft, durable, and radiant piece of golden silk rose up before the king's eyes. The queen was so happy that she immediately had an die cut for her, so that she could go to court next to the king the next day. The whole court was amazed at the beauty of the new shirt, which greatly enhanced the beauty of the wearer. The new king told his court that the queen herself had discovered that strange and precious thread, and allowed the mandarins and wealthy families in the country to imitate the queen in wearing that new product. Since then, the profession of growing mulberries and raising silkworms began to flourish, responding to the earnest wishes of the country girl T2. Thank you for joining us for today's fairy tale. We hope these stories bring joy and meaning to your day. If you love our channel, please hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any exciting tales. Wishing you a good night and sweet dreams. See you in the next story.